Welcome to the first video of my podcast. Today's topic is what impact does social status in social media have on teens? And this video is going to be a little bit more different than the other two videos I have planned because with prior research, I actually realized that social status and how it affects teens is barely talked about in the internet, surprisingly. Like, you would think something that's shaping the way teens think in our generation would be more popular on the internet, but it's not. So this video is going to be less filled with stats, and I decided to bring, in my opinion, two pretty different people on this podcast to get a more overarching feel on how teens feel with this topic. So momentarily they will introduce themselves and talk about, like, I don't know, a preferred lifestyle they would like to have after high school and maybe post secondary education.
Hi, my name is Stefan, and the lifestyle I prefer to have when I'm older is more of an adventure-based lifestyle where me and my Volkswagen minivan drive around the Americas and just have a happy, sustainable life.
Nice. Dora?
Great, and then I'm Dora, and I'm also in grade 10, and similarly to Aryan, I prefer a more city lifestyle in a fast-paced environment. And then Aryan, if you want to introduce what
Yes,
your
okay.
preferences were?
So yeah, similarly to Dora, I kind of want a LA lifestyle, which is more like city and specific cars, and yeah, I see Stefan making fun of me, but that whole vibe. So do you guys think that social media has had an impact on how you guys want to live your lives?
So I would say that through social media and influencers, what their lifestyle appears to be is what we're looking at, I assume. And then for Stefan, that looks very different. And do you want to explain?
No, it doesn't affect my life very much. I don't
Okay.
look up to very many people, and the people I do look up to share the same views and perspective as me. For example, Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day.
See? So Stefan feels that social media doesn't really have an impact on how he wants to live, and Dora, similarly to me, feels like there is some say. So, a quote that I found from the former president of Lavtia, which is a company, said that any person can see how the other side lives, which is basically saying how anyone in the world with access to social media can really see how other people are living their lives through social media. And I think that has had a great impact on how teens think they want to live their lives. And also shows like Dynasty, which is about like a rich white family related in the electrical business living a lavish lifestyle, and like reality shows like Bling Empire or Keeping Up with Kardashians have made us want a specific lifestyle. And I would say right now the most popular social media that's really involving with our generation is TikTok, where people can show off their lives, whether that's being exploring like Stefan wants, where they're just showing places that they go explore, or crazy rich lifestyles. Do you guys want to add on to anything with that?
I'd also say that Instagram is also a pretty big platform for that. But like what you mentioned, I think on TikTok there's even trends dedicating to how people live their lifestyle, like, and also with YouTube videos, vlogs, and all of those, they demonstrate how one may live their life, and some would be like more casual vloggers, while others are just showing off what they have.
Yeah, Stefan, you agree?
I mean, yeah, TikTok has what, 800 million users?
Yeah.
It's a global network for 1/7 of our global population, and those aren't just people older than 13 or teenagers. They're younger people, they're older people, and I feel like everyone can be influenced by TikTok. It has something like for everyone, and it's the perfect entrepreneurship scheme to steal everyone's information or just be a rich, bumbling company.
So, besides lifestyles, while we're on the topic of TikTok, TikTok beauty issues which relate to social standards. Like, I cannot say how many times, which I'm not hating them, good for them, but when I see like an attractive man or woman showing off themselves on TikTok, and how those videos tend to get hundreds of thousands to even millions of likes, while someone who's showing off their artwork or they're showing off their talents barely get any compared to that. And yeah, as I said, no hate to them. They're just like fitting in with the attractiveness social standard on TikTok. And I actually found a cosmetic surgeon in Toronto where they have a whole page on their website dedicated to making people attractive to TikTok standards. Since TikTok has recently been exposed for having an AI technology where it can scan your attractiveness in your face and your body, and they will put you higher in the algorithm in the For You page to fit in, which that would get you more followers, more likes, which is making you the what I'm trying to say is the more attractive you are, the more popular you are, the more socially relevant you are.
Mhm.
So yeah, do you guys think, because in my opinion that's crazy how people will go out of their way to get cosmetic surgery just to be higher in the social status.
Right, and I see what you're talking about. And for the TikTok one, I haven't heard of that yet. But what you said, like, I guess I have thought of that the algorithm would put people who are more attractive first, but I didn't think that they would be exposed for having AI system to scan. Because that alone seems quite not like
Ethically
out there.
correct.
Right.
Stefan,
Oh.
I'm guessing you agree.
I mean, yeah, I agree. But you'd also, it's not just lopsided towards like attractive people to unattractive people. In my personal opinion, other streaming services other than TikTok, for example, Twitch, heavily balance the female community more than, say, the male community regarding like leniency around like restrictions. And it's very visible in Twitch as female streamers often are promoted more, and they often can break the rules and still recover. Whereas like male streamers, they usually break the rules and they're out.
And I guess that's what they're trying to, that itself, like letting women, I guess, sexualize themselves, it's a whole market for them to attract a whole new group of people. TikTok has become so broad that they have sections for all type of people. Like they specifically change your algorithm to things that you enjoy so you could stay on the app for longer. They've
Yeah, it's not just TikTok too. Every social media is developed to the point where it is based around your lifestyle, what ads you click, what ads show up, who is recommended to follow. Just look at shows like The Social Dilemma on Netflix and see how manipulative social media and social media companies are just in general. They can ruin your life in a snap without you knowing it.
Talking about shows, like I was talking with Miss Kikis, which is my marketing teacher as of right now, and we both realized that we both watched the show Black Mirror. And there's this one specific episode that I want to talk about that I know Dora has watched because we've talked about it before. And I'll just show you like 2 seconds of it, Stefan, so you kind of get an idea too. I had it prepared. Okay, wait. A tab. And this tab, share. Okay, so it's just like a few seconds.
If we drill down into the numbers, you've got a solid popularity arc here. No one is this happy.
So, yeah, I don't know if that gives you a... How to stop presenting. Okay, so it's basically just about a futuristic world where everyone gets to rate each other on their phone after having any social interaction with them, whether that being a FaceTime call, seeing them in person, doing anything. And in that specific clip, the protagonist, she was at a therapy session with someone to work on how she can build up her rating scale because she wanted to buy a specific apartment, which I think that really depicts our society with social status. The more popularity you have, the more relevant you are, the more privileges you are given. which leads me to my next point, which is pretty privilege, as it's like marketed on TikTok, where influencers like Zoe Laverne or Tony Lopez, that I'm sure we're familiar with, they have been exposed many times for grooming children and getting sexual photos from underage boys and girls, and they still have this platform with tens of millions of followers with nothing happening to them just for the fact that they are attractive.
Yeah, I have another example. Call Me Carson. He's a Minecraft YouTuber. Who watches Minecraft? Very young kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been exposed to that too, and nothing's happened. Nothing at all, and it's disgusting because people can be above the law, even though they're not.
Dora, do you want to add on to that?
No, there really isn't much you can say to it. That it's very much present in not only law-wise, but like what we mentioned earlier, algorithm, social media, popularity, all of that is affected by how attractive you are.
Yeah. So now I want to get into specific celebrities, and are there any specific celebrities that you two look up to?
No, not really.
Not really.
What about
Or a specific lifestyle? Like, I know, Dora, me and you have talked about how there's like specific Asian influencers that you've showed me before, and they're living this like specific lifestyle in New York, for example. They're like university students in New York, and it just looks like they're having a blast.
right? And with that, I think it was Instagram. Was it? I was talking about wow, they're living in New York and all of these like nice photos that they're doing. That they're in university, whereas in truth, when you do look deeper at their posts, they're not as great as they look, and by that I mean they're obviously posed, and with the comments, you can see that they're buying followers.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, right, with that one, and it's crazy to think that people not only they want to be attractive, but through that, if they don't gain popularity, they'll do that as well.
And Stefan, I don't think I would say there's any specific lifestyle you follow from celebrities, but do any of like, I guess, indie singers or anything, do they influence any of your purchases, anything that you do in your life?
I wouldn't say like purchases or me purchases, because I listen to music a lot during the day in classes, I'll admit to it. And I do have like a small vinyl collection, which is like starting to grow, but that's more older singers who are already starting to die off slowly, which is terrible. But they also people also like influence my thoughts and what I think about the world. For example, Billy Joe Armstrong, he's in Green Day. It's a very politically controversial pop punk band, and it's very shown in their music, like American Idiot, that whole album, but also different rants that they've started. For example, I started a rant at some award show, and I think back in 2016, it went like no Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA, and it's a very left-wing liberal rant, and that's kind of where I align myself.
And I think that influencers nowadays they could be extremely beneficial for our society, but unfortunately they must fit a certain standard to be a popular influencer, to fit in with the rest of the influencers. For example, I don't know, there's influencers, Minecraft influencers, like popular MMOs, people that I guess we used to watch as kids, and you really see how they've changed from 2015 to now to fit in with the other influencers to keep their relevancy.
Yeah, and then some who refuse to get with the program die off. You don't hear of some of them anymore, but some are still around.
People that used to get millions of followers, millions of views, get like maybe, I don't know, 20,000, barely any.
Yeah, it's
just because they want to be themselves. Okay, wait. Can you guys hear me now? My computer died. Can you guys hear me? Is it good?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to where you were. I had a question for you, Stefan. I wanted to know if, I know you're more into music than I would say rather Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, like social media platforms like that. Do you think social status like attractiveness, specific lifestyle, does that have any effect in the music industry?
Of course it does. So let's look at Lil Huddy's new song. He's a popular TikToker, I think. I don't really know.
Yeah.
But he made a pop punk song.
Are we talking
I
about
mean,
the vampire?
21st Century Vampire. It's a play on a pop punk song. It's disgraceful. And pop punk is just a genre that people like Machine Gun Kelly or Lil Huddy just shouldn't be touching, because it's not a genre that you can get into just from being famous. And that's exactly how 21st Century Vampire has over 600,000 streams on Spotify in the past, in 2 days.
That's a lot.
In
No,
2
they
days.
make a lot of money from that.
You do make a lot of money. Why do you think people are doing it?
Also, other
And that's-
TikTokers. Yeah, Dora, go.
What I heard was that the song was quote unquote good. I've never listened to it, but with it got, I'd say, decent feedback from the general public compared to, let's say, what Dixie got with her songs. And I'm not sure about the genre, but do you want to expand on that?
Well,
since
Dixie,
you heard-
I'll elaborate a bit on Dixie. So Dixie is also another popular TikToker, sister of Charlie D'Amelio, which is the biggest influencer on TikTok right now, over 100 million TikTok followers, I believe. And she decided to start making pop music, where her music would get millions of streams, and a lot of people would hate on her because they would say her voice is
63
bad.
million
63 million streams.
on her Be Happy song.
And she has more Spotify monthly listeners, which is, I think, is 14 or 15 million. She has
It's like
more
18 million.
Yeah,
a lot.
but yeah, she has more Spotify monthly listeners than people who have been in the industry for years, where people actually enjoy their music and people are not hating them for it just because she's a TikToker. And a lot of people say she's faking streams. A lot of people say she's trying to get her name out there, which is sadly the things that she's a teenager, 19 years old. Sadly, the things that people have to do to be socially acceptable, to be socially relevant.
Yeah, I mean, if she's really committed to music, then so be it. She can use her platform to get listeners. Look at people like the British YouTuber KSI, who's recently dropped an album in 2020, and it got criticism, and he's like moving forward. He's actually dropped a few albums, and he's kind of renaming himself as more of a musician than an actual YouTuber. And that idea of like reinventing yourself, I'm all for it. But Dixie D'Amelio didn't really put much effort into some of her music, in my opinion, and she's just getting away with it.
I wouldn't rather say she was getting away with it. I'd more would say that, I mean, if I were her, I'd probably do the same, because they're making quite a bit from dropping music.
Quite a bit. Last year, I saw an article that last year alone, the whole D'Amelio family made over $15 million. That's from a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old.
Right, and they blew up maybe like the first bit of last year. Oh no, even before that. It was like September
2019, 18. Mm-hmm. And that actually, that by seeing 16-year-olds and 19-year-olds living such a lavish life, it's actually increased the depression rate, and it's increased children's expectations from a family that make a lower income. With lower income families, children tend to feel more poor health, education failure, behavioral problems, because they want to live the life that they see these other teenage celebrities living. And I would say in our school, specifically our school, where we live generally with a higher income students, I would say that affects us a lot. Like, we tend to be more spoiled than other kids, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dora, did you want to say something?
No, well, as I mentioned, I feel that it's also quite sad that like 16 and 19-year-olds with Charlie and Dixie that they blew up recently, and they're doing all of this because they're going to lose quote unquote relevancy
Yeah.
maybe this year, next year, soon. So they have to do all of this to, I guess, make the income and make the most out of their current fame.
Yeah, someone like Charlie D'Amelio can't dance on TikTok since she's like, let's say like 40 years old. She's not going to still be dancing on TikTok making 15 million a year. They have
Yeah,
to
but you see
somehow
them-
keep their relevancy.
You see them moving to different platforms like YouTube because TikTok's not the
TikTok's going to die
best
soon.
platform. It's gonna die soon but also it's a scary platform to make money off of and base your living off of, especially with the whole TikToks getting banned in 2020 by the Trump administration. So I get why they might have gone to different like avenues to make a profit, but also it's just an iffy subject all around.
And I think that YouTube is becoming more and more toxic as years go on. There's influencers like Tana Mongeau, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. Yeah, she started off on TikTok, so on YouTube, using a lot of explicit language, really just being herself. And as years went on, since like 2016 or 17, where she started blowing up, she's become more and more. She's gotten a lot of cosmetic surgery done. She's started hanging out with a lot of like LA style type lifestyle influencers. She's really changed from expressing herself to being some fake person to get likes, get money, stay relevant.
Yeah, Tana has gone through a series of just terrible events. TanaCon.
And also other influencers like Trisha Paytas, 32 years old, and she's on TikTok roasting 16-year-olds. She's making fun of 16-year-olds as a 32-year-old to stay socially relevant, to keep her social status.
Yeah, did you hear she quit? She quit social media in 2021.
Oh,
Guess what happened
for 2
later?
hours? For an insane small amount of time.
It was like 4 days, and then she got into another scandal.
And that's all she does. Start problems to stay socially relevant.
And that's how she makes money.
Like, even then, even though multiple people hate her, she still has millions of followers. She's driving a pink Rolls Royce around in LA every single day and living her life by starting problems and staying socially relevant. So I think we covered most aspects on the issues of social status with teens. Yeah, and I think we can wrap it up now. So I would like to thank you two for being on my podcast, and yeah,